Meet Rex, a pathetic virgin loser who was always bullied in school just because his face was punchable. And even when Truck-kun decided to fix his face, he was reincarnated and his face was even uglier after the hit. Added to that, he was a demon too, resulting in even more bullying. But one day, he awakened the powers of Demon King, getting a lot of girls who were ready to do anything with him. But just then, his army was ambushed by humans, and he was frozen without even touching those sexy ladies. This story is so real that I got nostalgic. Fuck this shit. I am out again.
Looks like Adam needs a good beating to at least finish his work, or maybe a subscribe will bring him back anyways. Waking up after 3,000 years, he has lost everything. But still, Rex decided not to be the loser anymore and not die a virgin, planning to find the ladies and make them fall for him. The story begins inside a war tent, where a middle-aged man sat down on the throne, while a sexy demon lady came inside, addressing him as Lord Rex, and telling him that the Demon King's entire army was finally assembled. The man had a serious look on his face along with the red crimson eyes as he understood the situation and realized that finally a total war with the humans have begun. Then the lady addressed the man as the almighty Demon King, and he started going outside the tent, telling his trusty subordinates that it was finally the time for departure. We see that the Demon King is quite a womanizer, having an entire army of sexy ladies, which included Luna, Zella, Helga, Azealia, Liana, Isabel, and finally, the sexiest of them all, Lilith, who told the Demon King that the human army which had gathered to destroy them was only 10,000 strong, and in contrast, Rex's demon army was a whopping 500,000. So there was no way that they can lose. Rex realized that it had been a long road because he was always bullied in school, and then he suddenly died by the wheels of the almighty Truck-kun. But then, as he reincarnated, he thought that he was saved, but he was bullied once again in the world because he was a demon, and the only one who understood him and reached him out by giving a hand to him was the sexy Lilith. And under her guidance, Rex awakened his powerful magical powers and finally reached the pinnacle of the demon race, also known as the Demon King. He was finally called Noct Rex Tenebris, not the lowly demon, but the Demon King. As Rex was remembering everything, Lilith asked him if something was wrong, but the man was just contemplating about how he had put his ladies through a lot. But he was still going to ask them to stick with him just a little longer so that they can conquer the final quest. All the ladies started smiling, while Rex started going towards the army, knowing that he will defeat the humans and obtain freedom for the demon race. As the scene shifts, we come to the human army, which was getting attacked by multiple monsters and demonic creatures, while Rex arrived at the battlefield, telling his army that it was time for them to show the demon race's power. With the final 3 words, Rex told all the monsters that they should trample the humans. And finally, the all-out war between the monster race and the humans began. The scene shifts towards the human side encampment, where one of the soldiers informed his general that the Demon King's army was moving. Hearing that, the general asked another mage if the activation circle was not ready yet. The mage was pouring all his energy into some magic crystals, telling the general that only a few seconds remain. After the countdown of 3 seconds, the activation portal was finally finished, and a blue aura started emanating from it. As the man realized that he had finally did it, a psychotic grin appeared on his face, and we come to know that this device was the magic power suppressor. And as the waves of this device started spreading throughout the battlefield, Rex sensed it, wondering about what was wrong with his army. He noticed that the combat unit's movements have been stopped and they were feeling uneasy. But before he can process anything any further, the blue waves of the magic suppressor reached him and surge of energy was being sucked out of him, while he wondered about what this was. All the ladies immediately realized that their magic power was being stolen and they cannot fight like this. And on the other side, the humans were making fun of them because they saw that the Demon King's army had finally stopped moving. The general was happy, thinking that as the demons cannot function without their magic power, they should switch to Operation Stage 2 and prepare to transfer the demon sealing squad after a lot of magic power was used. A bunch of youngsters were sent to the battlefield by the general as they appeared in front of Rex, telling him to prepare himself for being sealed. Rex complimented the humans for being intelligent because they stole the magic powers from demons and used the same power to send a squad over with the opportunity for a surprise attack, which was not at all bad. But Rex was not someone to mess with because his magic power cannot be suppressed by only some measly device. A purple orb started materializing through the hands of the Demon King, but suddenly, he noticed a peculiar sword into the hand of one of the youngsters, realizing that the sword was not just an ordinary seal, but a rather powerful one. He immediately ordered all the demons to evacuate the area, but the general smiled at the scene, telling the Demon King that he was too late. Finally, the people activated the sealing device, and 3 magical circles appeared in the sky, glowing with a blue color and getting ready to seal all the demon ladies along with their master. This was a really tense situation. The boy wondered about what he should do. Finally, not knowing about how to tackle the situation, he told everyone to run quickly, as he decided to face the humans alone. But before he can do anything, all the demon ladies were trapped inside ice shards. Rex had underestimated the humans to seal the power of such a large army, and completely seal all the commanders of the Demon King was not an easy feat, and to think that humans could gather such tools was really shocking. Somehow, the Demon King was able to free Lilith out of the ice, apologizing to her, telling her that this was happening because he had underestimated the humans. But Lilith still smiled, telling Rex that there was no way that she could have any regrets, because she had been happy to spend all the time with the one she admired. The Demon King was shattered, because the one who had supported him was now gone, and it was all due to him underestimating the powers of the humans. As the time passes, Rex was getting engulfed inside the ice glacier, realizing that it was all his fault and carelessness that had costed him his companions. On the other hand, the soldier was getting happy, telling the general that the plan of sealing the Demon King and his executives was a success. So the general ordered all the human troops to attack the demon army and exterminate them, while a psychotic grin appeared on his face once again, as he thought that all the ugly and inferior species like the demons should perish. After the Demon King's army, along with his commanders, was defeated, humanity reached 3,000 years of prosperity. However, the scene shifts to a dark and desolated cave, where a purple energy seeped out from somewhere, and a huge frosted crystal started breaking because of the dark energy. And suddenly, the ice broke, and there comes the Demon King, getting out of the blue frost seal. Rex was shocked, wondering about how he was out and if the seal has been broken. He started looking all around with a shocked expression, wondering about where everyone was. But as he turned around, he saw his trusty female subordinate, Lilith the succubus, who was looking nervously at the Demon King. There were 2 more subordinates, Zila, the dark elf, and Azelia, the mighty dragon, and they were all glad that the Demon King was safe and sound. Lilith wondered about how the first 3 commanders of the Demon King were with him once again, wondering if this was some kind of fate. But suddenly, Rex told the ladies to stay inside, deciding to go outside the cave and scout the place out. The dragon lady was shocked by the intention of the Demon King to go alone, and the elf told them that they should go together. Lilith resisted this decision of Rex, but the man turned around, getting all serious and telling Lilith to stay put, because it was the Demon King's order. But then he calmed down, telling the ladies to not overexert themselves and just stay put. The ladies stopped resisting, even when they did not want to, and Rex started going outside. After a while, Rex noticed a large quantity of magic crystals all around, and wondered if the seal was broken, because the crystal reacted to the frozen barrier. After breaking the deposit of magic crystals, Rex started going outside near the cliff and saw multiple humans. But for him, it had been decades, or even centuries, and he did not know anything about the new world. He was confused by the peculiar clothing and weaponry which was used by the humans as it had changed considerably. The humans were now using guns and rifles, while the Demon King wondered about how many years have been passed, as some more humans started attacking some kind of a dungeon. The Demon King hid himself wondering about what are the things that the humans were fighting. As the scene shifts, we see that multiple tentacle monsters came out of the dungeon and a huge, ugly-looking eye protruded through the middle of the tentacle. Rex realized that they were unseen creatures, and this species of monster was not even known by him, so he knew that it was impossible that they could be the subordinates of the demon race. But if this was so, what had happened to the world during the Demon King and the ladies were sealed? Rex realized that the weapons that the humans were using were having magical crystals embedded inside them. And if this was true, then they should have been valuable items. The humans were shooting magical crystals towards the tentacle monsters, and Rex wondered about what the humans were doing and why they were attacking them, because they were not looking like some ordinary soldiers. This scene shifts to the humans, and one of them told his subordinate that the dimensional beast extermination was complete and 5 creatures were down, so they should move on. Rex noticed that the humans were coming towards his way, so he wondered if he should hide and wait it out. But he was the Demon King, and it was no small matter. So he decided to use his magic to generate clothes that are same as the humans, and as one of them noticed the boy, he wondered about what was up with him. The new look of the Demon King was actually really goofy as he started telling the humans that he got separated by his group, wanting to join their team instead so that he can also farm some experience. He decided to play it humble so that no one will suspect him. But the leader was not so dumb, telling Rex that he does not mind a new member. But first, Rex will have to show them a hunter's license, and also tell them about why he was wearing such a goofy-looking mask. Just from these conversations, Rex knew a lot of things about the new world. These humans were fighting the monsters in a dungeon-like place, and they were from a profession that slays those dimensional beasts. As Rex did not have any license, he started lying to the humans, telling them that he had lost his license when he was escaping, and the mask was there to hide his old injury. When he saw the human leader suspecting, he started making up stories, telling them that he had hit a rock when he fell into the river from the bridge, and this was the reason for the mark. The human was completely shocked, but Rex wondered if he was talking too much. Finally, the humans decided that as the boy was looking like a newbie, he can at least be used as a shield when it will be required. So all 3 of them started going inside the dungeon, but Rex was shocked to see that inside the dungeon were 3 beautiful-looking demons who were not in good condition. They were looking like slaves who had completely lost their very will resist. Rex knew that if they used magic, then taking out these many people would be nothing. But as they were not using any kind of resistance, he thought that maybe the humans were using some kind of magic-suppressing tool for suppressing the powers of the demon. Rex was surprised, asking the ladies about why they were not trying to escape, telling them that it would be easy for them to do so if they used the magic inside them. But one of the demon slaves was shocked, wondering about what magic even was. This was really shocking for the Demon King, knowing that their kind does not know magic anymore, and that their knowledge has been lost due to the humans, resulting in the non-rebellious and desperate nature of the demon kind. The humans started smiling after looking at the sexy ladies, wondering about what was wrong with the newbie. They thought that may be The newbie was also looking for a companion for the night, and jokingly told him that they will lend him one of the girls after they were done with her. This angered the Demon King even more. But he knew that he cannot act just yet. The moment he saw the face of the demon girls, Rex knew that they were despising the humans for using them, but they were not able to do anything. Suddenly, his train of thought stopped as the leaders screamed, telling the other one that a dimensional beast has appeared and that they should commence engagement with the creature. But this time, the tentacle monster was really huge than the other ones, and the Dew realized that it was a silver-ranked monster. They decided to fall back and get out of the place while putting the decoys in the front for them to die. The other human immediately grabbed the demon girl, throwing her towards the monster for it to devour her, telling her that she was a decoy and nothing else. This ill treatment of the lady was seen by the Demon King, and as she was sure that she was going to die, she started crying and screaming, but after a while, she wondered about why she was not dead. And as the lady opened her eyes, she saw the mesmerizing view of the newbie hunter, who had stopped the monster's tentacle from reaching the lady. Rex did not even understand much about how the world has changed, but now he was sure of one thing, and that was that the humans were still as scum as ever, and they knew nothing but to scourge the demons for their need. Rex decided to use magic for a moment, but then stopped himself from doing so, only materializing his demonic sword and slashed the creature into multiple halves with only one swing. The 3 demon slaves were in awe, looking at the adventurer, slaying the tentacle monsters with such ease. But Rex had already noticed that one of them had escaped his sword. He started going towards the monster while he heard a screaming noise from behind, realizing that it was one of the human. But as he started going in that direction, one of the demonic girls stopped him, asking him about why he had saved the lowly demons. As the tentacle monster approached the humans for devouring him and finished him off with a splash of blood scattering all around, Rex finally revealed his true face, while telling the sexy demon ladies that, as he was the Demon King who was going to rule over the demons, it was his responsibility to save them, and if the lady is wanted to regain the pride of the demon race, then they should follow him without any questions. As they got out of the cave, Rex explained everything to Lilith about what happened inside, and they decided to take the demon slaves and leave the cave. Coincidentally, both the elf and the dragon lady found a nostalgic place for them to live, and as one of the demon ladies asked Rex about what the place was, he explained that it was the Demon King's castle, where he, along with his 7 demon commanders and many subordinates lived, or rather, they were only the remains of it. Lilith realized that a considerable amount of time has passed since they were sealed. But Rex had already seen that the demons were still being oppressed by the humans. Lilith was angry by this fact, suggesting that they should declare the Demon King's revival and do a war against the humans. But the elf thought that a declaration would be a pain, and it would just be fine to massacre all the humans right now when they are unaware. But Rex was more cautious than before, telling them to hold on, because they cannot repeat the same mistakes as before, and should proceed with caution this time. Rex turned towards Lilith, asking her if it was true that there was a human town nearby, asking Lilith to lead them there. The lady agreed to her master, and the scene shifts to the local human city named Rothiskar, and we come inside the Hunter Guild branch, where the branch chief, named Falgus, was sitting onto a royal chair, looking at a prism-like thing while drinking some costly wine. He had got the crystal from an auction and drink. He was drinking while looking at it was the best, but suddenly he saw that his bottle was empty and shouted at someone, telling them to bring a replacement quickly. He slammed the bottle onto the table while telling someone that the table was shaking and it was making him angry. It was then that we see that the table was not actually put on the ground, but instead it was put onto the back of a demon slave who started apologizing to her master. But the chief was as ruthless as he can be, pouring all the wine over the demon's head, telling her that she was completely useless, and now she was going to get punished. He grabbed the hair of the demon while she kept apologizing, but he was enjoying every bit of it. Suddenly, the man heard a strange but devilish voice, which told him that he had got quite the interesting hobby. The man wondered about where the voice was coming from and turned towards it. And to his surprise, it was none other than Rex, who introduced himself as someone who was going to be the ruler of the Hunter Guild branch from that day onwards. The boy started clapping while congratulating the chief, telling him that he is going to be a puppet now. But as the man was unaware of Rex's status, he asked the boy if he was out of his mind, calling out to security and telling him to get the strange guy out of the palace. But another strange voice is echoed through the chamber, and it was having a feminine aura around it, as we see that the succubus Lilith was licking the magic out of the security guard, while using her mental domination skill, which is able to dominate even the Sigmas out there. The chief was shocked, realizing that he was seeing something extraordinary, and wondering about who these guys were. Rex started introducing themselves as the demons, who were the proud race of darkness. He decided that the chief should experience the pain that he had inflicted on his subordinate so far by himself, and he started using his crimson powers, as the chief started feeling each and every bit of pain that he had inflicted upon the demon lady from the start. The chief started crying in pain and agony, not able to comprehend about what was happening to him. But Lilith thought that Rex was going overboard, and it was not even necessary for him to come to the place. But the boy told the lady to not worry about it, because their precious abilities will get dull if they don't use it again after such a long time. We see that the chief was already down on the dumps while he peed on the ground and fell down onto it. Rex started moving, ignoring the man, looking at the huge crystal, realizing that it was the part of the crystal that had sealed them. For him to see it at such a place was shocking, but he knew that the sealing crystal would require some more magic crystals to defrost and take out whoever was inside. Lilith knew that it would be one of her friends, but she will have to wait a bit longer for them to get released. Rex left the control of the guild branch to Lilith and told her to work on gathering information without the townspeople noticing. The lady agreed to this order, but wondered about where her lord was going. Rex explained that he was going to obtain some magic crystals, and since they have gotten their hands on a Hunter Guild branch, he had decided to keep playing Hunter for a while to gather information. We come to the outskirts of the city, where a blue-colored portal to a dungeon had opened, and Rex has transformed himself into a hunter once again, while reaching the gate entrance and showing his fake hunter's license to the already present adventurers, thanking them for their hard work. The adventurers wondered if they had such a peculiar-looking guy at their branch. But one of them thought that the person might be a newbie and decided to let him accompany them. The adventurers knew that as the gate was not that big, it will be perfect for training. We come to know that gates are the structures composed of magic power that suddenly appear, and inside them were creatures called dimensional beasts and large quantity of magic crystals, which can be obtained after defeating the dungeon. Rex remembered that 3,000 years ago, there were not any signs of dungeons or gates anywhere, and the era was quite peaceful, but still, as he will have to gather information and get magic crystals, he decided to enter the dungeon so that he can find all the commanders of his army and release these sexy ladies from the crystals, realizing that the real battle will begin after that. As the people started entering the dungeon gate, a group of hooded humans also came towards the portal with a lady who was binded by magic structures and was lying down onto a cloth stretcher, being unconscious. As the scene shifts, we come to the dungeon, where Rex was slaying multiple dimensional beasts, realizing that only small fries were showing up, and he was not getting many magic crystals out of them. He wondered if he should have chosen a high-ranked gate, because, according to the documents, at the Hunter-Gilder branch, gates were ranked based on the level of dimensional beasts, and on the other hand, hunters were also ranked according to their skill level, which determines the gate they are allowed to challenge, as they were strictly regulated at first. The hunter license that Rex had got from the branch chief was of an F rank, since he thought that he was a newcomer. It would not raise suspicions. But now he realized that he should have gone higher, but now nothing can be done. And Rex thought killing these ugly monsters was just a leveling exercise. We get a whole lot of usual information dump where we are told that gates have been appearing all over the world for about 100 years, and if they are left unchecked, they will continue to expand. But the magic crystals, which are produced within the gates, are indispensable energy source in the modern world, and hunters are professionals who challenge these necessary evils and take on the job of mining magic crystals and subjugating the dimensional beasts. After this short information trip was over, we see that Rex has managed to collect magic crystals of a decent amount and finally decided that it was time for him to head back. But suddenly, he heard some rattling noise, and as he turned around, he saw the same hooded figures. At first, he thought that they were other hunters, but they were not looking like the professionals at all for now. Rex decided to tail them and uncover their true identity. As the scene shifts, we see that the hooded figures had a psychotic-looking leader who ordered all the others to grab the lady and tie her onto a sacrificial altar as she was still looking like a beauty while being unconscious. The leader started chanting some ritualistic spells, calling out to a secret beast, telling it to appear before him so that the creature can overflow from the other world and devour all the humans as sustenance, to ensure the humanity within the world of darkness. After the spell was complete, a gate inside the dungeon had opened and a huge tentacle monster started getting inside the leader of the group. Rex was shocked after looking at this, wondering if the creature had eaten the human. But he realized that instead of eating, the creature was fusing itself and was using the magic power inside the human as a medium. And after the fusion was finished, a strange eye appeared onto the chest of the human, while he transformed into something even more dirty and ugly. But the cult members were praising the creature and announcing that the gate master has been born. They told the gate master to devour the lady, who was a sacrifice, and further grow the gate into an even greater force. But before she got devoured, the lady opened her eyes, after she got conscious once again and saw multiple tentacles who were doing some fan service to us. They were actually trying to go inside the lady, but before they can fulfill their evil intentions, Rex came for the rescue, materializing his demonic sword and slashing the tentacles away. The hooded figures were shocked to see a hunter present at the scene, while the gate master was not ready to give up, getting angry on Rex for interfering with their sacred ritual. But the Demon King couldn't care less about the disgusting ritual, and more importantly, he wanted to know if the members of the cult were the ones responsible for creating the gates. Then it was revealed by one of the cult members that they were the members of Labyrinth cult, and they had the mission to transform the false world into its true form. But before the member could even complete his sentence, he was stopped by the Demon King, who was furious because some measly humans have dared to spread such grotesque filth into the world that he wanted to rule. The boy started powering up once again, getting ready to kill all the members of the guild. But suddenly, Rex was having a strange expression on his face, as we all see that the Gatemaster has ordered his tentacles to attack the Demon King and tear his chest apart. Rex was completely torn apart by the attacks of the tentacles, while the Gatemaster thought that the human who wanted to stop them was not much of a threat, and had only helped them increase the number of sacrifices for their cause. But suddenly, they were shocked when they heard the Demon King talking once again, as he told them that human-level magic power was not enough to block the tentacle attack, which only meant one thing, that the creature was somewhat strong. Finally, Rex decided to stop playing and use the demonic magic which he actually possessed, going back to his usual Demon King form, telling all the cult members that their execution was at the hands of the Demon King. The hooded figures told the Gatemaster to do something so that they can escape, but the boy started using his fire magic and burned all the tentacles alive, telling the Gatemaster that the punishment for a heretic has always been the fire stake. Rex used the flame magic of 6th rank, which was called the Absolute Infernal Blaze, and started burning the human into crisp, making him look like some tenderly roasted meat. All the cult members started screaming, but they were not going to have mercy shown to them, because it was the Demon King we are talking about. After the whole gang was finished, the boy released the hands of the girl, asking her if she was all right, because whatever happened inside the dungeon was quite a disaster. But as Rex had a lot of questions, he asked the lady to calmly come with him to his base. But as she saw the real power of the Demon King, she fainted once again, and Rex had to carry her outside the dungeon, even when it seemed like kidnapping. But he knew that he will have to make use of the humans as a source of information if he wanted to know more about the world. We come to know that Demon King had possessed several abilities, but among them, the most important one was called ability sharing, which was the power to replicate the magic and share them to his demon subordinates. The unique magic of the 7 commanders was especially useful in ability sharing, and for the battles which are coming up ahead, Rex knew that he would need the power of his subordinates. So he wanted to free them from the crystals as soon as possible, but it was still having a long process to go through. We come back to the ruins of the Demon King's castle, where the human lady was shivering like crazy, and even on one word of the Demon King, she faints. Rex called Lilith and made her see everything, telling her that he had brought the lady to the ruins to extract information about the humans, but she was too terrified to even have a proper conversation, even when he was the one who had saved her life. Lilith made a cute expression, telling the lady with a calm demeanor that if she was not useful, then she should be killed by the pretty hands of the lady. But suddenly, another female called out to Lilith, telling her that only killing the human was a real waste. We come to know that it was none other than the 5th commander of the Demon King, named Liana, who was an arachnoid. The crystal, which was possessed by the guild branch chief, contained the lady within it, and Rex turned towards her, asking her if she had recovered yet. Liana blushed while telling the man that indeed she was, but more importantly, she told Lilith that if she was going to kill the human, then she should give it to Liana instead, because it has been a while since she had a good torture session. The man told the arachnid to stop, telling her that her skills will be useful for something else later, because this much intimidation was enough for the human lady to again start losing consciousness. The Demon King patted the lady onto her head, and she immediately agreed and stopped threatening the lady, suddenly telling the boy that the elf had contacted them through her unique magic. Liana had possessed Nephilah Thread, which was a unique magic used for communication and detection even in long distance. The elf told the Demon King about everything, and as Lilith wanted to know about the information too, the Demon King explained that the elf had found the location of another crystal. The lady was ready to head to the location immediately, but Rex stopped her, telling her that this time Azelia was going with him instead. The dragon lady was surprised, wondering about if she was really going, and Rex explained the plan to all of them, telling them that they will have to disguise themselves as a hunter party. So Azelia should hide her horns and tail as well. As the scene shifts, they come back to the human city, where we see that Rex was traveling with Azelia, along with the human lady, who wondered about why she was being dragged into this. The boy turned around, telling the lady to just lead the way and walk properly. But she was curious, wondering about why she was having a kind of a strap around her neck. The king told her that it was a magic tool, and if she would try to run away on her own or reveal anything about the demons to the humans, it will explode, taking the lady together with it. So she should not even think about doing something so foolish, but you all must have already known that the lady was intimidated enough, with only the mention of explosion, that she understood each and every point, wondering about why it was happening to her. But Azealia called out to her, telling her that there was no need for her to be scared, because as long as she would obey the demon king, she would be treated really nicely, because her lord was a merciful person. Even when the lady was not able to believe in her, she still felt oddly cute and calming aura around her. As the scene shifts, we see that the trio had finally reached the place where the crystal's owner was. It was the entertainment city of Garcebels, and they had reached an arena where multiple fights take place. The elf told the demon king that the person who was holding on to the crystal was a hunter named Sid, and he was quite a famous individual in the city. The lady informed Rex that if they go to the arena, they should find him easily. Rex understood what the lady said and gave her the next order of searching for the other crystals as well. Zella agreed and got out of the arena while the trio sat down as an audience, as Rex asked the human lady about what kind of hunter Sid was. At first, the lady wondered for a moment and asked Rex if he was talking about the triple S ranked hunter Sid. Rex was a bit shocked hearing the triple S rank because according to the books of the guild, the highest rank was S. The lady explained that even when it is true, Sid was considered so strong that he is unofficially called the triple S rank. This was interesting for everyone, but the dragon lady was only enjoying the seat with her small body frame. The announcer announced in front of everyone that finally, the strongest hunter Sid has arrived in the arena, and now he will perform his usual gig of exterminating 100 dimensional beasts in one go. After the announcement was done, multiple dimensional beasts started running towards Sid as he used his sword, which was looking like a revolver from below. He started slashing the beasts one by one and had exterminated hundreds of them in one go. Even the dragon lady was surprised, realizing that for a human, Sid was quite capable. But Rex had noticed something and realized that something was fishy. The announcer started speaking in the mic once again, asking the audience if there was anyone who dared to challenge Sid, telling them that if they win, then Sid will grant them one wish. Rex started smiling, while the lady looked at him in confusion, because for the Demon King, things were getting really interesting. Just when the announcer thought that there was no one ready to challenge the strongest hunter, Rex got down onto the stage, telling the announcer that he was the one stepping forward. Sid was a bit curious, telling Rex that he had never seen him before, wanting to know his name. The Demon King disguised his name and told Sid that he was named Yoru. Sid was smirking while telling the Demon King that judging by his appearance, he seemed like a new hunter. He thought that the boy did not understand the difference between courage and recklessness, and Demon King humored him, telling him that he had never really thought about it. So he wanted Sid to teach him, because he was Yoru's triple S ranked senior. The announcer told everyone that it has been a while since they have had a challenger, so he made everyone wonder if the strongest hunter Sid will once again display his overwhelming strength. Rex was curious, wondering about why it had been a while. So Sid told him with a confident smile that usually the arena was a place where kids ask for his photograph and a handshake, and someone like Rex only shows up once in a while. Thinking that he should apologize, the boy immediately did so, but the man threw a similar-looking weapon to his towards Rex, telling him that matching weapons should be fine because he was there in the arena without any weapon. Rex smiled, telling Sid that he will accept the gift gratefully, but deep inside, The red-haired man thought that no one can beat him anyways, so it doesn't matter. Finally, the match began, and Rex started launching himself towards the hunter. Both of them were running with insane speeds as their swords clashed with each other. But Rex noticed that Sid's sword was gleaming with a strange energy. He realized that this was something else, and even Sid was a bit annoyed by the fact that he was exposed so early. It is revealed that the sword of the man was specifically crafted with a high concentration of magic crystals, which made it highly efficient in killing monsters, and was enhancing the weapon's magic efficiency by several times. So it was no wonder about how Sid was able to kill these many monsters so easily, because he was just using a cheat weapon. But he thought that even when Yoru has realized it, it was already too late. The man jumped towards the Demon King, getting ready to slash him in an instant, which made the boy fly away as he got slammed onto one of the walls of the arena. The human lady thought that Rex was really in a fix, but as she turned around, she was shocked to see that the dragon lady was not at all worried and was instead eating popcorns. The dragon lady explained to the female that she should not worry for someone of the caliber of Rex, because for him, it was mere child's play, and he was just trying to enjoy the show. Meanwhile, inside the arena, Sid thought that he overdid it a little and was smiling with a confident expression on his face. But suddenly, he heard footsteps coming towards him, and he saw that Yoru was back to his feet once again, while the sword given to him was gleaming with a purple aura, and he told the senior sarcastically that he should not hold back. On the other hand, the hunter was shocked because he was certain that he broke the sword which was given to Yoru. He wanted to know about what was going on, but was still not able to comprehend it. But before he can process the thoughts any further, Rex started running towards him and clashed his sword with him once again. Sid realized that his heavy-density sword was already having cracks in it, and the situation was really going to get worse if this continued. As Rex jumped onto the hunter, he immediately stopped the match, complimenting Rex and telling him that he is really strong. The man smiled and told him that he should stop, and instead let him invite the trio to his mansion so that they can have a banquet. And while they were at it, Sid told Rex that he would love to hear the wish of the boy. But the Demon King was already sensing something ominous from this human, because this gesture was too generous for someone like him. Rex realized that Sid had been pretending to lose on purpose and treating the boy like just another kid for an autograph. But as this was still fulfilling the purpose, Rex thought that he should let it go, because it was actually working out perfectly. The boy just smiled while deep inside, Sid was deeply annoyed by being lost. As the scene shifts, we see that it was the nighttime, and the trio had finally arrived near Sid's mansion, the dragon lady complimenting the place as quite a fancy one. After a bit of a talk, Rex decided that they should go inside, and they were greeted by the butler of the house. As they got deeper into the mansion, they were told by the butler that they should wait at the same place for a moment for Sid to arrive. But as soon as the door closed, Rex sensed an ominous aura coming from somewhere and realized that the banquet was rather lifeless for a huge place. The dragon lady wondered about where the feast was, but suddenly they noticed that from the second floor, Sid was looking down on them, while being glad that they could make it. But to no surprise, the man immediately told farewell to the Demon King, opening a trapdoor and making the trio fall into the basement. Sid was having a devilish smile on his face while he apologized to Yoru for being a human who was useless to him, and due to this reason, Yoru had no reason to live. As they were falling, human lady was continuously screaming, and she was almost unconscious when Rex grabbed her from his magic and told her to stop screaming, because it was hurting his ears. As the lady opened her eyes, she saw that they were falling, but the dragon lady and the Demon King were completely calm while she was the only one who was screaming. She wondered about what the place was, because it was smelling awful, But Rex turned towards her, telling her that this was the real banquet hall, but the twist was that the meal were the humans instead, and the honored guests were the dimensional beasts. As the trap door closed once again, Sid was smiling with a confident grin while thinking that his opponents were finally out of his way. We see that a middle-aged man came inside Sid's house, and it was none other than the mayor himself, who was also supporting the brat. He asked Sid about what he did with the strange hunter Yoru, and Sid told him that by now he is probably inside a dimensional beast's stomach. The mayor was really getting happy by the fact that they were going to see a tragic incident, and Sid was also laughing sarcastically while telling the mayor that it was a truly lamentable tragic incident. Indeed, as both of them were laughing and talking to each other, they heard a demonic voice, which told them that they have been completely exposed. The mayor was the first one to become all frantic, wondering about who they were listening to, and suddenly inside Sid's mansion, a huge explosion took place. And we see that the trio was back to the floor once again from the basement. Meanwhile, the fake hunter wondered about how they have got out and what had happened to the dimensional beasts. Rex told the man that if he was talking about the disrespectful greeters of the Demon King, then he had already took them all down. Rex asked the human lady to tell the red-haired brat the same thing that she just said earlier. We come to know that the lady was named Rika Twilight, and then she started telling both the mayor and the hunter that privately owning dimensional beasts and using them for harm to individuals was strictly prohibited by Hunter International law, and violators will have their hunter license revoked and will receive the appropriate punishment as it is deemed fit. Hearing the serious tone of the lady, both the mayor and the hunter knew that they were really going in hell for this, and Rex, on the other hand, was not able to believe that even the mayor was into this. Rika decided to report everything to the Hunter Guild. Knowing that he was in grave danger, Sid asked the Demon King about what he really wanted, because he was ready to give the man anything. As a really good gesture, realizing the opportunity, Rex told him that he wanted Sid to hand over the giant crystal that he had owned. The man immediately agreed, telling Rex that it is in the next room, smiling confidently, asking Rex to stay quiet about the dimensional beasts. But this was the twist that we all have been waiting for, because the Demon King straight up denied, telling Sid that he never said that he would agree to the man's conditions. Finally, they got to the other room and started inspecting the crystals, and Rex realized that with this, they can free another one of his kind. But then they heard multiple voices. One of them was Sid, and the other one was the mayor who wanted to know about what the brat was doing. Now, it was really getting noisy, and the trio decided to check it out, and as they got out of the room, they saw that the mayor was completely losing his mind, wondering about how it had come to this. Rex wanted to know from the man about what was wrong, and he explained that the fake hunter brat has just opened the cage of another dimensional beast portal, and it was multiplying, and the dimensional beasts will overflow the whole city and destroy it. Rika was shocked by this revelation. While the boy started thinking about something, he couldn't care less about a city full of humans. But he shouldn't let his reputation drop too much in front of Rika, because she was an important information source. Rex asked from the mayor about the rank and the number of the dimensional beasts, and the man told him that they were all silver-ranked dimensional beasts, which are over 1,000 in numbers. Looking at the dragon lady, Rex told everyone that the two of them should be enough to deal with them, and even the dragon lady agreed. As the scene shifts, we see that multiple dimensional beasts were wreaking havoc in the human city, killing all the individuals they can find to pass their time while devouring their energy. On one such specific scene, a lady was getting hit by the demon while it started using its tentacles to do some bad things. But before the creature can even start the fan service, the eye exploded and the monster was blown into smithereens. The citizen was shocked to see a young girl who was saving her, while realizing that this was bad. On the other hand, the lady realized that as it had been a while, she was really getting a bit rusty with her skills. The dragon lady was having a huge staff onto her hand, which was glowing with huge flames, while on the other hand, Rex kept slashing multiple dimensional beasts with the sword. This sword was given to him by the fake hunter, and after just a few strikes, it broke completely, and he threw it, materializing the original demonic sword in his hand, realizing that, as he had always expected, his sword was the easiest for him to use. Now, both the Demon King and his trusty subordinate were standing side by side, facing multiple dimensional beasts and thinking that it was time for them to hunt, and it was going to be fun as they had a satisfied smile on their face while they were getting really excited. As the scene shifts, we come back to the citizens of the city who asked each other if they were all right. One of the males told a female that a masked black hunter had saved him, and the female told him that she was saved by a small girl wielding a spear. Everyone wondered about who they were, and no one except you guys know the real identity of them. The scene shifts back to the place where Rex was slashing multiple dimensional beasts, and as multiple filthy creatures started appearing once again, he was getting really annoyed, telling them to move if they don't want to die. Both Rex, along with his subordinate Azealia, were slashing and hacking each and every dimensional beast they can find. We see that the Dragon Lady was also able to use the 6th-ranked flame magic of Absolute Infernal Blaze due to the ability-sharing skill of the Demon King. As of both of them took down the army which was advancing towards them, Rex asked her about how many she took down. The lady told him that it was about 400, and Rex had also counted his kills to about 400 too, realizing that it leaves around 200 more. But just then, Rex started laughing, and the Dragon Lady wondered if something was wrong with him, hearing that the boy started explaining that he was recalling the time when he had first met the dragon. This made the lady fluster as the boy continued that, to make the dragon his ally, they had a contest to see who could slay more monsters, and back then, the Dragon Lady was much more aggressive, and even called herself the Lonely Dragon Queen, who lived for 1,000 years. This made the Dragon Lady blush intensely while she tried to stop Rex, telling him to forget about those days already. But Rika was looking at everything they were doing, finding it amazing, thinking that maybe the two can actually handle all the dimensional beings. But suddenly, she was called out by Lilith, who came closer to the lady, telling her that she was sent by Rex to retrieve the Krista. Rika told Lilith that the crystal was in a mansion on the outskirts, and as the lady understood, she still turned around, telling Rika that she wanted to give her one last warning. The lady took on a serious tone while she tried to intimidate Rika, telling her to never forget that she was only alive because of Rex, and if she ever tried to harm him or even think about seducing him, then she will definitely be killed by none other than Lilith herself. The lady made such a terrifying smiling face that it was enough for Rika to get scared once again, while she agreed to whatever the succubus said. Realizing that her taunt has worked, the lady playfully turned around and started going towards the crystal area. Rika realized that the succubus was indeed scary, and only the Dragon Lady Azealia was the only one who brings her peace. As the scene shifts, we see that the fake hunter Sid was running inside a jungle while thinking that the trio, which had come to his mansion, have ruined his career, and for that, he decided to definitely get his revenge onto Yoru one day. But suddenly, he heard the same demonic voice of the one he despised, and without wasting any second, the trio was materialized in front of Sid. But still, the fake brat thought that the hunter had abandoned his city to follow Sid in the forest. But Rex was not able to comprehend the clear audacity of the boy to call him an idiot, when the dimensional beasts have already been exterminated. But Sid was not able to believe it, telling Rika that there was no way that it was possible. She was even more infuriated by this deed of the fake hunter, telling him that the city which was on the verge of destruction because of him was saved by her friends. And now, she also knows that Sed was someone who always deceived and killed those who get in his way, and even tried to destroy the city just for the sake of escaping, which was really just a hero-less behavior. Hearing these, words made Sid really furious as he told everyone to shut up because it was all the trio's fault. According to him, if they had never appeared, then the city would always have been peaceful, and Sid would be living there quietly. But this much blabbering was enough for Rex, as he had already made his mind to finally finish this matter, telling Sid that he was nothing more than the lowest of the low among humans, so he should just die. The Demon King immediately materialized his sword while he got ready. But suddenly, the Dragon Lady stopped him, telling him to leave this to her. Rex realized that the lady was not done venting her frustration and ordered her to deal with the fake hunter instead. On the other hand, Sid thought that as a small human was his opponent this time, he was having a golden opportunity. He did not know about what Rex was thinking, but according to him, he was really foolish because now this has become a fight which Sid can easily win. The man got ready with his sword, with fake hopes of winning a battle which he should not have participated in. But the dragon started telling the man that Rex has always known the difference between courage and recklessness, and now the lady was going to explain it to him in detail, telling him that recklessness was when someone charges in without measuring the true strength of their opponents. While the dragon was saying this, she stuck her tongue out and started transforming into a vicious creature. As the transformation was happening, the lady's face was distorting, and finally, after a huge flame tornado erupted from the ground, a silhouette of a large dragon appeared inside. The transformation was finished and the flames disappeared while a giant dragon emerged from the inside, with crimson eyes and a deadly aura, while Sid was paralyzed onto the place where he was standing, dropping down his sword. The dragon told the brat that recklessness is what fools like him do, because they think that they are above everyone else. The dragon was fully transformed as she started going towards the fake hunter brat, who already fell down onto the ground, knowing that his end was near. But the human was so desperate that he still wanted to try and save himself from his impending doom. He was not even able to stand up as his legs was shaking furiously. He started crawling around, trying to grab his sword once again, but he knew from the inside that he cannot do anything in front of such a huge creature. The dragon did not want to play anymore, and immediately grabbed the black jacket of the brat, picking him up like some ant and moving his face towards her, while he was still having the audacity to scream, asking the dragon about who she was, calling her a monster and whatnot. But this only making his death even more brutal, because the dragon lady threw the human on the ground and started stomping with her legs, telling the brat that he was really insolent for calling the dragon a monster when she had a proper name, and was called Azelia, who was the leader of the proud dragon clan and was the third commander serving the great demon king. The dragon lady was really getting furious as flames started erupting from her eyes, and Rex was looking at the nostalgic power of his commander, as she told the man to engrave her name into his soul and take it with him in the afterlife. Rika was shocked realizing that the cute little Azelia was now such a fierce dragon. The man's death was really brutal, as he got stomped by the dragon multiple times and splashes of blood kept splashing all around, just like when a tomato is squashed. But it was not tomato juice, and you all know that. After that, Rex reported that Sid has been killed by a dimensional beast, and the people thought of him as a hero, even when he was dead. But this does not matter to him, because they also celebrated the rise of a new hero who was able to defeat all the dimensional beings and protect the citizens, behind the scenes. Rex manipulated the mayor and brought the whole entertainment city under his control as well. Meanwhile, as Rika saw the truly terrifying individuals, She wondered about when she will be fully freed from the clutches of the demons. The scene shifts back to the ruins of the Demon King's castle, where Lilith and the Spider Lady were standing along with the Demon King and Rika as he was freeing another one of his subordinates from the crystal. We come to know that it was a green-haired, beautiful lady who was the fourth commander named Isabel, a dark knight from profession. She was having a beautiful-looking body along with the elegance of a knight. At first, Rika saw Isabel and thought that she was a human, but deep inside she knew that something about her was different. And even when she was looking human, she was somewhat dark in her attributes. As soon as Isabel got out of the ice structure, she knelt down in front of Rex, presenting herself humbly before her master, apologizing for her late return. But this time, Rex apologized to Isabel instead for putting her through hardships by becoming careless and not gauging the powers of the human. But Rex was serious this time, asking the lady if she will still follow him once more, and for Isabel, this offer was even more than she had hoped, and she immediately agreed, telling Rex that he will be served by her until her very last breath. The Dark Knight turned around asking Rex about why there was a human present inside the Demon King's castle, wondering if she should kill her instead. This much was enough to make Rika scared once again, and she almost fainted. But this time, she was able to control herself as the Spider Lady came near the Demon King, telling him that there was no scheduled communication from the elf after she left the entertainment city, and she was not responding to the calls of all the commanders, and her last status was clearly unknown. Hearing the name of Zella, Isabel was suddenly sweating profusely, wondering if the girl was all right. As the scene shifts, we come inside the demonic castle once again, where all the commanders, along with the human girl, were standing with the Demon King, as he told them that the area that Zella was exploring was a restricted zone. Lilith wondered about what it meant, and Rika started explaining that even the hunters were forbidden from entering a restricted zone. This zone was overrun by the dimensional beasts, even when it was supposed to be a city, but once a gate appeared, it was not closed in time, and now it was the home of the beasts instead. The entire area had been sealed with barrier magic, and there are even rumors that the labyrinth cult has made it their base of operations. Rex immediately remembered the man he had faced, also known as the Gatemaster, not able to believe that it was this stupid cult again. After hearing the whole explanation, Lilith wanted to know from Rex about what his orders were, and to no one else's surprise, Rex ordered that they were heading to the place immediately. He wanted the Spider Lady Liana to come with him, but Isabel stopped him, asking him to allow her to accompany them as well. Even when Rex knew that Isabel still needed to rest, he still understood the situation and decided that Isabel should come along. Curious, Rika asked Rex about what she should do, and the boy told her to stay behind this time and instead be under the care of the succubus Lilith. This scared the hell out of the human lady, while she was handed the task of learning about all the demon commanders and the castle, but she knew that things were really going to get dangerous. As the scene shifts, we come to the barricaded area of the restricted zone, and as both Liana and Isabel came along with the Demon King, they were curious to know about what was inside the restricted zone. Rex touched the barrier, realizing that it was a really low-leveled barrier magic, and there was no need for them to destroy it for entering. But as soon as all three of them entered the restricted area, they started getting weaker and weaker, and the bodies of the demons were really starting to feel heavy. Isabel already knew this sensation from before, and even Rex has realized that this sensation was coming from the same magic suppression device called the Sorcery Jammer. Rex realized that the device which had sealed them 3,000 years ago was hidden in the restricted zone. It was the same artifact that had led to the defeat of the demons 3,000 years ago. But Rex was surprised that the power of the suppressor was not as strong as it was back then, and he was informed by Isabel that she was able to still use some of her magic. So suddenly, the spider lady called out Rex, telling him that she will find the suppression device and destroy it no matter what, even when it was dangerous. Rex was also worried about the elf, so he let the spider lady do the work, but told her to be careful instead. He started using magic, and blue-colored sparks appeared once again over the demons' bodies. Isabel asked Rex about what magic he was using, and he explained that it was a teleportation spell, and in case of severe injury or emergency, they should automatically be transported to the Demon King's castle by the help of that spell. Both the ladies thanked the Demon King, telling him that they were grateful, and they started going towards their respective directions so that they can find their friend. As the scene shifts, we see that the elf was surrounded by multiple hooded figures, as she opened her eyes and saw that she was inside a dark and desolate cave with only the hooded figures around her. She remembered that her magic power was being suppressed, and then a group of people in plain white robes have surrounded her. A female started laughing after looking at the elf, being happy that she was finally awake, and as the elf saw the female, she realized that she was also a gatemaster. The female just smiled, telling the elf that she was fortunate to obtain a sacrifice with such high magical power, and due to that, the ritual was guaranteed to be a success. The elf saw that behind her was a giant dimensional beast who engulfed her inside and started fusing to her once again. The elf realized that the girl was the member of the labyrinth cult, and she was going to transform into a tentacle monster too. After transforming, the gatemaster lady was feeling wonderful, as power was surging through her and she was feeling really hungry. But the tentacles inside of her started going towards the elf. Again, starting the fan service that you all want. But the elf was not liking it, telling the lady to stop. But the gatemaster wanted the elf to not resist too much, and for them to become one and have some dirty but passionate time together. But suddenly, a male voice interrupted the two females, while we see that it was none other than the Demon King who stopped the gatemaster from making a disgusting confession, telling her to do it somewhere else and not with his subordinate. The elf was finally happy after looking at the Demon King, along with Isabel, who told the woman to release her friend immediately. But she was not optimistic at all, telling the both of them to run away, because she knew that they cannot fight with the cult members with such low magic power. And added to that, getting captured was her fault to begin with. So the Demon King does not have to worry about her. But this made Isabel angry, while she told Zala that she had owed the lady her life, and when she was a former human who struggled to fit in the demons group, the elf was the only one who accepted her first, and now, as a dark knight, she would never forget her debts, and would not let death be the end of her chivalry. But this speech was not really useful in front of the gatemaster, as she opened a portal of dimensional beasts once again and ordered them to attack the demons. Rex started materializing his sword while realizing that the female gatemaster was far stronger than the last one he had met, so he decided to handle it quickly. He told Isabel to focus on the elf and help her recover while he handled the monsters. But as the Dark Knight started going towards her friend, she was interrupted by the female gatemaster, who started using her tentacles once again as they started doing their naughty things, touching the girl in all the inappropriate places. She wanted the creature to let her go, but the female started approaching her, thinking that Isabel had got quite the spirit, and she was looking so delicious as well. Meanwhile, Rex was not able to slay all the dimensional beasts, wondering about why there were so many enemies, because he knew that he cannot reach them in time if there were so much. But suddenly, Lilia came towards him while the lady communicated with the Demon King that she had destroyed the device. Finally, Rex had a smile on his face while he saw that both the ladies were completely devoured by the tentacles. As the gate master thought that now everything would be all right for her. But suddenly, all the tentacles were slashed and were decimated. In one go, as both the elf at the dark night landed onto the ground, and a demonic voice echoed through the whole cave, telling the female gate master that if she was that hungry, then she was surely going to get a full-course meal of fear by no one other than the Demon King himself. Rex turned towards the ladies, asking them if they were unharmed, and as both of them agreed, the female gate master was shocked. The elf wanted to apologize, but the Demon King told her to not worry about it. On the other hand, the gate master realized that the people in front of them were not just ordinary demons, but instead something peculiar and different. She wanted to know about who they were, and the boy introduced himself as Rex, who was there to eradicate the gate master in the darkness of the night, as he was none other than the king of demons. But as the gate master was not familiar with terms which are 3,000 years old, she was not able to believe that a demon dared to call himself a king, which was really a laughable matter for her. She ordered all the other dimensional beasts, along with her followers, to attack the Demon King at once, while the Demon King ordered the elf to take a rest and the Dark Knight to handle the swarm. The main boss was his to conquer, and everyone understood their task. But the Gatemaster female was still laughing, asking the Demon King if it was really okay for him to handle her alone, because she had already slipped in something a little troublesome in front of Isabel. As the Demon King turned around, he saw that someone shot a bullet towards the lady, and even when she had deflected a few of them, they kept coming. At first, she wondered about the place from where the bullets were coming from, but suddenly she saw a unique type of dimensional beast. We come to know that it was a bronze-ranked beast, which was falling between iron and silver rank in terms of strength, but it had a really troublesome skill by which the creature can mimic the properties of various things, and depending on what it imitates, it can become extremely dangerous. The bronze-ranked dimensional beasts were troublesome indeed, and the one which was fighting with Isabel had mimicked a hunter's gun. So the Gatemaster started laughing, wondering if a swordsman can defeat a gun, and just then, everyone heard a gunshot, which was straight up penetrating the head of the lady as she fell down, and it was looking like she was no more. The cultists wondered if the lady was dead in one shot, or if she was alive in some way. The cultists were no saints, thinking that, as the body was already finished, they should have a little fun. But just when they were getting naughty, someone slashed the hand of the cultist, and he started screaming in pain and agony as blood splattered all around. The man was not able to believe on what he was seeing, as the one who had cut him was none other than Isabel herself. Even when she was shot down and was just lying down on the ground a second ago, as the Gatemaster was shocked. Rex started explaining to her that as a demon, Isabel was not a swordsman, but instead, she was a necromancer. The lady started engulfing herself with a green aura of resurrection while she started chanting a spell, announcing that the earth itself was a graveyard and countless corpses lie in slumber. They are shrouded in darkness and are turning night eternal, and for the revenge of their master, the dead and the damned shall rise once more, and the place shall become the underworld for the necromancer. Multiple dead members of the cult start standing while the insides of them were getting powers from the dark night. Finally, Isabel has used her unique magic, which was named the Legion of the Restless, as multiple undead creatures started following her and began attacking their own allies. Isabel ordered the undead to attack, devour, and kill, while the Gatemaster saw her plan being completely turned over. Rex started smiling, asking the lady if they should begin as well, because the man was not having much time. Thinking of doing a surprise attack, the lady threw a tentacle at him, killing a follower in the process, and as the man turned around, he was shocked to see that the gate master was killing his own important followers without any mercy. Just then, Rex realized how merciless the lady actually was, telling him that followers were like weeds, and no matter how many she cuts down, more will grow, so she will not have to worry about them. Rex immediately saw how pitiful her thinking was, and looking at Rex standing all alone, the lady was getting annoyed, thinking of him as weed as well. She was fused by a dimensional beast, and no one should be able to defeat her, or at least that's what she thought when she attacked the Demon King, and multiple tentacles passed through his body, piercing his chest. But the illusion was over soon enough, as the Demon King dematerialized and appeared again on the back of the Gatemaster lady, while using a spell and summoning multiple dark crimson hands, which started subduing the lady and immediately slammed her down onto the ground, tearing all her tentacles apart and making her disabled. She started crawling away, realizing that she cannot be spared, but the Demon King called out to her, asking her about where she was going when she was still having a full-course meal of fear pending, and she had only just finished the appetizer. The lady knew that at this rate, she was definitely going to be killed, and she decided to find a way to escape. She started bowing down in front of the Demon King while he asked the lady about what she was planning now. The lady innocently told the Demon King that she was going to surrender, and that she was going to do anything and everything that the Demon King had desired. But before the lady could continue any further, the Demon King pointed out that the tentacles behind him were not considered a gift by the lady, and that she was just a filthy gatekeeper who was lying, and it was not good when the condition is not anywhere near her favor. The boy grabbed the tentacles of the lady and threw her onto the ground once again while materializing his demonic sword. The lady started screaming while she was up for a desperate last attack, but suddenly she saw someone who was standing in front of her and screamed at the lady, telling her that she was in the way. But she was completely paralyzed in fear as she saw that in front of her was another demon who was standing while looking at her with anger. It was Liana, who grabbed the Gatemaster by her spider legs and brought her to her eye level. Meanwhile, Rex was happy that Liana was back, and she told her master that there was only one magic suppression device, so it was not that difficult, and even though she cannot find any crystals, it was still enough. The Demon King complimented Liana for his good work, and she asked the man about who the other lady was, but Rex did not even think of the lady as important, and just told the spider lady that she was free to torture her as much as she liked, because she was someone who would know about the cult a lot, and the spider lady's next task was to extract each and every bit of information out of her. The eyes of Liana glittered with excitement while she started grabbing the lady with her onto the corner, getting ready to play with her. The Gatemaster started screaming and pleading for help, telling the Demon King that it was not fair, but the man was just smiling while looking at the lady, now deciding to tell her just one good thing, telling her that if she talked honestly and told everything to the spider, then she was going to die faster and painlessly. As their conversation is finished, the lady was dragged together with the spider lady, and screams of pain and agony started coming out from one side of the dungeon. Meanwhile, the Demon King turned towards Isabel, asking if it was over, and finally, the elf grabbed the Dark Knight once again, thanking her for saving her own friend once again. Isabel was finding it somewhat clingy, telling the elf to stop doing it, but suddenly, the spider called out to the Demon King, telling him that the torture and interrogation was finally done. The lady started explaining that the next crystal that they should find was in the 5th holy city, named Babylon. We get to know that the Labyrinth cult was a way larger organization than anyone would have thought, and they have spread across multiple continents, multiplying gates and wreaking havoc while their base was in the holy city, and its existence was kept secret, and only the upper ranks of the cult know the details. As the Demon King came to know about everything, he sent both the elf and the spider lady to search for the location. But a whole month passed with no results. As the scene shifts, we come to the now rebuilt demon castle, as we see that Rex was finally happy that the restoration has progressed a lot. Lilith was standing beside the Demon King, who told him that they have placed some recognition inhibition magic around the area, so there was no risk of humans discovering the demons. As the Dragon Lady and the Dark Knight were training, Rex asked Lilith about their rescuing operation of the oppressed demons. The lady told him that everything was going well, and they are gradually doing it to avoid any kind of detection. Right now, their castle had secured about 500 slave demons. But soon, the castle would not be enough for inhabiting so many creatures, and they should proceed with the plan to build a city around the castle for the demons to live. Rex was happy by the reports given by Lilith, telling her that she had well done. Finally, the man ordered the demon lady to go and have a little rest. But as Rex entered his room, Lilith followed the king as he wondered about why the lady was entering his bedroom. The succubus was fully aware of what she was doing, and she immediately threw the demon king down onto his bed, climbing on top of him and telling him that if a succubus was inside a man's bedroom, it only meant one thing, and this was going to happen right now. But my friends, this is nothing but fan service, because suddenly, these spiders of the lady contacted the Demon King once again, telling him that they have found clues about the new crystal. It was the elf Zella who was telling the Demon King that they have found a human who was talking about Babylon. Both Liana and the elf were present on Riverstar, which was the largest trading city in whole Babylon, and now the cultist humans were planning to turn the whole city into a sea of fire. Hearing the name of the Riverstar, Rika came running towards Rex, asking them if what she heard from behind the door was true, and if the place has been targeted. As the man agreed to whatever the lady said, she was in deep shock, and Rex explained to her that the Labyrinth cult main base was in the 5th holy city named Babylon, and it was near to Riverstar City. So these cult members were planning to destroy that city first. Hearing that, Rika started pleading to the Demon King to take her with them, and as the boy became curious, the lady told him that Riverstar City was her hometown, and there were so many people that she knows there, along with so many memories that she held dear to her heart, as the place was important to her, and that's why she wanted to come along. But Rex immediately denied the lady's request, and even when she pleaded again and again, the answer did not change. But Rex smiled at the lady, telling her to not worry at all, because he would not let anything bad happen to the place. Finally, he became serious once again, asking Lith to come with him to the place. But suddenly, the lady turned around, looking at Rika and wondering about why Rex was being a little too soft onto this woman named Riverstar, and everyone was shocked to see that the place has been developed quite a lot. We see that both Rex and Lilith were disguised as humans, while the lady was not liking the fact that humans have multiplied like vermin, but Rex told her to calm down while he maintained his hunter's disguise. We come to know that finally, Rex came to know from somewhere that 3,000 years have passed since they were sealed, but considering that time, the progress by which the humans reproduced was rather slow, and the intellectual and architectural progress of the humans was also really slow in comparison. But suddenly, the elf called out to the couple, telling them to join her in the outskirts so that no one can find them. After they stopped, the Demon King asked Zayla about what she had found, and the lady started explaining that there are already many labyrinth cultists hiding in the city, and they are planning to open a gate and use dimensional beasts to consume large number of residents and expand the gate. Understanding the situation, Rex wanted to know about their base, but the lady apologized, telling him that she was not able to find about it yet. Lilith waited for her master's orders, wondering if they should call the spider lady and have her retract the information, and as it was sounding reasonable, Rex decided to do so. But suddenly, as he turned around, he saw a human who was talking to the hooded figure who was definitely a cultist, as the man told him that he had brought someone inside the carriage to the back alley, and now he wanted his payment for doing the work. But the cultist started rummaging around his pocket and suddenly took out a knife, stabbing the man and laughing at him for being blinded by greed in the false world. The cultist started surrounding the carriage, which was being brought by the now dead man, while they told the highness inside to come out. But before the cult member can even approach the carriage, a magical arrow shot through his head, and all the others were shocked to see that a bow and arrow were being used on them in the era of faster guns. But before they could say something else, multiple arrows started barraging onto the cultists, shooting them one by one and clearing them out. Some of them realized that the arrow which was shot at them was not ordinary and wondered about who was shooting them. We see that it was none other than the elf who was using her magical arrows and bow and was doing some fan service, too. She shot every cultist onto their heads and realized that even when it has been a while, she had still got the aim and agility to do the archery. On the other hand, there was only one cultist left, and even when he tried to escape, Rex and the other ladies surrounded him, and looking everywhere, the man realized that he had nowhere to run, asking the boy about who he was and why they were meddling with his business. Rex started acting like a hero, telling the cultist that he was just an ordinary citizen with some friends who were passing by, and they were just hoping to ask for directions about where the fifth holy city of Babylon was. Hearing that name, the cultist cut his tongue immediately and dropped down onto the ground. The trio was shocked by looking at this behavior, wondering if they were highly loyal to the cult they were in or if they were just completely fanatical, because these members were even more resolute than the previous ones Rex had met. Either way, he knew that this was going to be troublesome, but suddenly, someone started speaking from the carriage, asking the trio if they were the ones who have saved them. Rex realized that it was indeed the case, because even when he was after the cultists, he had indeed saved someone from dying, and after hearing that, a beautiful lady started coming out of the carriage, telling Rex that he must be the fated one for the princess. Hearing these lines were hurting the ego of Lilith, while she was not able to believe that another strange woman has entered in the life of her master. The first one being none other than Rika. She immediately turned towards Rex, asking him if they should eliminate her quickly because she was looking dangerous. But the elf playfully told Lilith that she was just as crazy and dangerous as the woman in front of them. As both of them started bickering, Rex stopped them, telling them to calm down while going towards the lady and introducing himself as Rex, telling the lady that he was just a new hunter. Hearing these introductions, the lady immediately remembered her manners, introducing herself as Claire, and we come to know that she was the first princess of the Balt Kingdom. Claire was currently fleeing for her life. We come to know that the Balt Kingdom was the nation that rules over the region of Babylon, and it did not even exist 3,000 years ago, but it was one of the 7 noble houses of the nation, and its first princess was the woman named Claire, who was being targeted by many people. Rex wondered about why this was happening, but the lady told him that she was specifically targeted by the group in white robes, and they have come for her many times before, so her worried father secretly prepared a carriage to send her to a distant place. But nowhere she goes did she find peace. And now, even the coachman had betrayed her, and instead tried to deal with the cultists. Rex started smiling with a devilish look on his face, realizing that the labyrinth cult's reason for targeting the lady was unknown, but she might be useful in finding Babylon. Unfortunately, she was seeming strangely fond of the boy, so he decided to make use of that instead. Rex started calling Claire as Your Highness, and asked the lady for fulfilling a request. We don't come to know about what the request was, and as the scene shifts, we see that 2 horses got near the gate where 2 cultists were standing, And the carriage driver was none other than Rex himself, who was asked by the cultist if he was driving the carriage of the princess. He smiled, agreeing with the cultist and telling them that they have been ordered to take the princess to the Babylon's entrance by themselves. At first, the cultists wondered if this was really the instruction, but thinking that it must have been changed, they decided to let the demon king pass and told them to go down from the gate and proceed straight ahead so that he can receive his reward there. Rex smiled at the guards while we see that both Lilith and the elf were wearing some maid outfits, while Claire was being protected by them from behind. As the squad started going inside the mysterious road, Lilith wondered about why she was being dressed like this. But on the other hand, the elf was happy, knowing that wearing normal clothes would make them suspicious, and she was actually looking kind of sexy in this dress, and it was really suited for the occasion, so the lady was not hating it. She started teasing Lilith by grabbing the hand of her master, telling him to order her around so that she can serve him. And even Rex was getting annoyed, telling the elf that right now her master was only the princess who was present there. After walking for a while, the squad reached a golden gate, which was brightly lit by many candles, and the Demon King wondered if this was the place they were supposed to go. The princess was shocked by such a big facility beneath the city, and the boy told everyone that there was a concealment barrier over the whole gate, and that's why they could not find the location. After they decided to go inside the gate, Lilith entered first and immediately dropped the guards down by her male domination technique, and as all of them entered, they decided to split up and search for the crystal. But to Lilith's shock, Rex told her to go with the elf instead, and decided to keep the princess to himself, who told Rex to not call her princess and instead talk to her by taking her name, Claire. As the scene shifts, we see that both the princess and the Demon King were walking around, as he realized that the place was vast and that the cultists were using dimensional space from the gate to travel through such a huge space. Rex was not able to believe that humans of the cult were having such highly advanced spatial magic, which was making him suspect that the organization was something more dangerous than just a mere cult. But suddenly, a tentacle came out from behind the Demon King and pierced his chest once again like before, making him drop down onto the ground while the princess screamed the name of our boy. But suddenly, another tentacle got to her and slammed her unconscious, while multiple cultists appeared before them, and something started picking the lady up. As the scene shifts, we see that two of the cultists stand in front of a figure in the shadows, addressing him as Jimmer and telling him that they had captured Princess Claire for him after all this time. The figure was revealed, and it was a really funny-looking being with the head looking like an anchor. The creature complimented his followers, telling them that by getting the final piece of the puzzle, his plan was complete and that he shall now take the life of the princess. There begins the fan service once again as something sticky started going inside the clothes of the lady. Jimmer was another gate master who was using his powers and was able to feel the quality of the specimen he had got. According to Jimmer, she had not awakened yet. But still, an immense amount of magic power lies dormant within her, and the gate master wanted the same power for himself so that he can become even more powerful. He knew that with this power of magic, the city of Riverstar will be devoured in an instant. But suddenly, he hears the same voice of doom, which is heard by everyone before they die. The voice told the hook-like creature that he was a pretty problematic being. At first, the creature was not able to understand about whose voice it was and why the voice was interrupting his mealtime. But Rex sarcastically told Jimmer that if doing something this naughty was supposed to be a meal for him, then it was really vulgar, and the creature should relearn proper etiquette from someone like the Demon King himself.